it was evident that all throughout the season that Jacob deGrom felt like he had no business returning to the New York Mets for the 2023 season and beyond. I mean, it was clear if you look at if you look at his press conferences, if what his quotes, his actions, nothing amounted to Jacob deGrom wearing a Mets uniform again. Because if you look at deGrom's history with the Mets, of course the back-to-back Cy Youngs and the uh, and the domination and all the nuggets of domination that existed with Jacob deGrom. Now deGrom bolts New York and signs a 5-year, $185 million contract with the Texas Rangers. And there are a lot of mind-blowing things with this. First of all, a reasonable contract for Jacob deGrom would have been 3 years, $120 million, based on the fact that he only made 26 starts in over the past 2 seasons. He has a problem with staying healthy. He's getting there in age. But there was always the big upside with deGrom, and in August last year we saw exactly that. He went 5-1 over his first 7 starts, with a 1.66 ERA, and he was simply dominant. And then issues arose his last 4 starts of the regular season before he turned in a solid outing against the Padres in the wild card game. But $185 million was mind-blowing from the Texas Rangers. And mind you, this is the same Texas Rangers team that brought in Corey Seager and Marcus Semien to contracts were amounting to $500 million in last offseason. And now things get a little bit interesting here for Texas. They bring in Bruce Bochy to be the new manager, and now he's got a starting pitcher 1 in Jacob deGrom, and look, they brought back Martin Perez, they brought in Jake Odorizzi to help out with the rotation. So and you look at the farm system, their farm system has 2 aces. Budding aces in their farm system with Kumar Rocker and Al Leiter, and you factor in a healthy Jacob deGrom. This Rangers team is going to go places soon. Now, they still need a cleansing of the roster when you take a look at some of their pieces in terms of boosting the offense. So, and obviously you'll need a better season from Semien, a better start more specifically from Marcus Semien, and the Texas Rangers are investing to win as part of everything with the new ballpark and having all this money to spend. So it is a very risky proposition, but this is the type of thing that brings buzz, that brings juice to the table in Big D, because they haven't had such that in a long time. So congrats to the Rangers for signing Jacob deGrom. We'll see how that pans out over the 5-year period. So this left the Mets a huge hole in their rotation with Jacob deGrom no longer in the fold here. So what did the Mets do today? Signed Justin Verlander to a 2-year, $86 million plus contract, $43 per plus per year over the next 2 years, and a 3rd-year vesting option for 2025. And Justin Verlander was the best pitcher in baseball in the 2022 season. Yeah, he was the Cy Young in the American League, 1.75 ERA, in over 150 innings. So he was just tremendous throughout, and he came up tough and clutch in the playoffs. If you take out the Game 1 start against Philadelphia, so he was tremendous throughout the playoffs. And Game 5, he was tough and clutch in the big spots against Philadelphia. When you look at that, getting out of the first inning jam in Game 5 of the World Series. But Justin Verlander is tough. He is mentally tough. He is an ultimate competitor. He is tough, clutch. Three-time Cy Young winner, two-time World Series champion, has been to the World Series, been in 5 World Series, going back to his days with Detroit. And this is the perfect complement to Max Scherzer and what Steve Cohen was looking at in terms of building a winning culture. Now, Jacob deGrom never allowed the Mets to give him a final offer, and that says something about how the fans have reacted to Jacob deGrom. He will be missed, and Jacob deGrom will be on the Mount Rushmore of all time Mets, and Tom Seaver is the greatest pitcher in Mets history. Jacob deGrom is number 2. Let's not get that fact twisted right there. Number 48 is going to be retired someday. It is going to be up in the rafters on top of sections 529, 530, 531 at Citi Field, and then you look at look at him and his legacy on the Mount Rushmore, and the Rangers, if deGrom is healthy, they're getting true greatness, but it was time for the Mets to move on from Jacob deGrom. Justin Verlander is the perfect complement to Max Scherzer in New York. Of course, they were co-aces for a half a decade in Detroit before Max Scherzer signed with Washington, and then Verlander gets dealt to the Houston Astros right at the 2017 waiver deadline in August, and now they're reunited in Flushing, and they're going to be at the top of that rotation for the 2023 season. Now, does this make the Mets the favorite to the National League? They're not there yet, but they're getting there. They still need to to upgrade. Another upgrade to the starting rotation, whether it's bringing back Chris Bassett, whether it's signing Japanese star Kodai Senga, whether it's bringing in someone like Jameson Taillon or something along those lines, but Justin Verlander is the perfect replacement for Jacob deGrom, and if you were to tell me if I would choose 2 years, $86 million from Justin Verlander, or 5 years and $185 million from Jacob deGrom, I would definitely take the 2 years and $86 million, because the injury concerns are less for Verlander than they are for deGrom, and Verlander's a proven winner, and that's exactly what Steve Cohen is looking at. That's what Billy Epler was looking at when talking to Verlander over Skype and over Zoom and all of that. So, but congratulations to the New York Mets for signing Justin Verlander. That's of course one step to the entire equation here when it comes to the 2023 New York Mets. You got to bring back Brandon Nimmo. He's the perfect leadoff hitter, so that allows Sully Marte to reprise his role as one of the best number 2 hitters in baseball. Jeff McNeil is the perfect guy to protect Pete Alonso and his 131 RBIs from a year ago in the Mets lineup. I look at what the Mets can do with using Francisco Alvarez as a designated hitter. I think that would be dreamy, and I think Alvarez is going to be primed for a huge spring training to be the DH, especially against left-handed pitching. And I think you look at the other cast of veterans like Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar. Now there's still going to be questions about the farm system, and I still don't think the Mets have enough talent to in the farm system to go all in at the trade deadline and fill in some holes and issues when we get to July 31st, but bringing in Verlander is the perfect start for the Mets offseason as they try to retool and be a World Series contender next year. So bringing in Verlander is step one. Now you bring in multiple relievers, because if you look at the Fangraphs roster resource page in terms of the Mets depth chart, the bridge to Edwin Diaz isn't particularly good. So I think when you look at all things considered, I think today is a very big day for Justin Verlander. Kate Upton and your New York Mets. Congratulations, Mets fans. You've deserved this day, and it is going to be incredible to watch Justin Verlander pitch in orange and blue and Flushing in 2023 and 2024.